Am I the asshole for not attending my best friend's wedding? This is the first story I have ever posted on here. Not quite sure if I'm doing it right. I'm brand new here. I see and hear some of my favorite people on social media reading stories from here, and decided I wanted to tell my story, one that has been bothering me and had me thinking a lot lately. I know that this is going to be a lengthy story. I'm sorry in advance. To anyone who actually stays and reads it all, thank you. So much has happened and I have needed to get everything off my chest for quite some time. Evening before everything went down, dealing with my best friend's wedding. There are so many things I probably should have said way before anything had happened. My best friend, who I will call Emily, 29 female, and I, 28 female, have been best friends for 17 years. In fact, we have been more like sisters than friends. After her mom passed away in our sophomore year of high school and her father wasn't taking an active part in her life, my parents and my family took her in. We got to live together for a time, went everywhere, and did everything together. I even went as far as choosing Emily over a best friend that I had since the age of 5 and another close friend I had for 11 years, which is a completely different and seriously messed up story. Recently, Emily got married and I did not attend her wedding. Before I get to the reason why I did not attend, I should probably give you a bit of backstory. Emily had been dating a man who I will refer to as Stephen for about 3 months before finding out that she was pregnant. Sometime before having their son, I had met my now fiance Thomas. From the beginning of mine and Thomas' relationship, Emily was extremely supportive and seemed genuinely happy that I too had found someone. Fast forward to about 5 months after Emily had her son. Stephen was not only caught cheating on Emily, but ended leaving Emily for the other woman after she found out. Emily and Stephen had been living together in a home they rented with their 5 month old son and two very large breeds of dogs. Emily had stopped working just before she had their son and continued not to work after he was born in order to be a stay at home mom. After Stephen left Emily for this other woman, she was left with the house they had been renting, their 5 month old son, and these two very large dogs, but had no job in order to support herself, her son, or support keeping her dogs. Being her best friend, I wanted to do anything I could in order to help her until she could get back on her feet. I knew with the mental and emotional trauma that she was going through, getting her back on her feet was not going to be easy. But I couldn't stand around and watch my best friend and her baby be left without a place to go. At the time, I had been saving up money to get a place of my own. I had about $3,000 in savings, and every week after buying groceries for myself and my dog, I would have about $500 left over in my checking. I knew I was good to help her for a while until she found a job to support herself. Never did I expect to be doing it for 9 months. For 9 months, I paid her rent. I paid her water, electric, internet, car payment, and phone bill. I bought her son's diapers, wipes, baby powder, rash cream, liquid Tylenol, baby Oragel, Pedialyte, gripe water, which I had never heard of before, formula, etc. And I even bought her groceries, dog's dog food, cigarettes for the week, every week, and left her extra cash for gas money for any job interview she may have got or doctor appointments her son needed. I went through my entire savings and money I had in my checking account, trying to support her. It got so bad that I was unable to pay my own phone bill and almost lost the phone number I had since sophomore year of high school. I was only able to buy food for my dog and ramen noodles every week for myself. When I finally confronted her 9 months later about her getting a job for herself, she admitted she hadn't even once tried to find a job, saying that she wanted to be the one to raise her son and not have some babysitter or daycare raising him for her. Even though I'm not a mother myself, I understand the fears of leaving your child in the care of a stranger. Eventually, she tried to convince me to quit my job of 5 years and move in with her. She said she wouldn't be able to pay me, but I could be a live-in babysitter for her son. And while I babysat for her son, she would go out and work. After that, I started to distance myself from her. I told her I could no longer help take care of her and her son. she would have to find a way to do it herself because I had already exhausted all of my money and stretched myself way too thin. Another bit of information: during this time, my fiance Thomas, who was only my boyfriend at the time, lived in a different state. The two of us were only able to see each other once every 2 weeks, if lucky, but a lot of times we would have to go an entire month before seeing one another. After this, distancing myself from Emily, she started making it out to be about Thomas, especially when she would invite me over to her house to hang out or stay the night, and I would turn her down because I was supposed to be seeing Thomas for the first time in weeks or over a month. She even went as far as messaging my own mother behind my back, telling my mom that she believed Thomas was being mentally and emotionally abusive and manipulative, monopolizing me and trying to cut me off from my loved ones. My mom even came to me, worried, trying to tell me I could always come to her about anything. Of course, I had to ask where all of this was coming from, and that's when she told me about the messages she received from Emily. This kept being a problem, but instead of confronting Emily, I would just reassure my mom. 3 years passed, and every birthday and holiday with the family, Emily would attend, and so too would my fiance Thomas. But every time we had an event, Emily wouldn't so much as greet Thomas or speak to him, and she would do everything she could to drag me out of the same room with Thomas and keep me somewhere else with her. Eventually, Emily met the man she is now married to. We'll call him Jake. Emily and Jake only dated for a week before she and her son moved in with him, and they were engaged within 1 month of moving in together. I had only met Jake one time for about 20 minutes when him and Emily stopped by my parents' house to drop off some homemade jellies and jams Emily had made for them. But that was the only exchange I ever had with Jake. I couldn't say much about him other than he seemed like a really nice man. Immediately after their engagement, Emily sent out the wedding invitations via email and a private group she had created on Facebook. My mom, my dad, and even my older brother and his wife received invitations to her wedding. She even added them to her private group on Facebook. However, I had not received an invitation through email or been added to her Facebook group. After 3 days of not receiving an invitation, my mom reached out to Emily, all on her own accord. I assumed that I either didn't receive an invite because I was her best friend and it was so obvious that I would be there, that she didn't think I needed an invitation, or because that was her way of saying we were no longer friends. Like I said, I had started to distance myself from her, and two of us had been growing apart leading up to this. I really didn't know what to think or what to expect. I was just holding my breath, waiting for Emily to come to me to herself, to talk to me about wedding plans, which could be enough confirmation for me to know that everything was okay between us, or come to me with an explanation of why she hadn't invited me. This seemed to bother my mom more than it did me, because without me asking her to and without telling me first, she messaged Emily to ask if she was going to send me a wedding invite. Emily told her that the only reason she hadn't sent me an invitation to her wedding is because she didn't want my fiance to attend. She said she knew if she didn't invite my fiance as well, then I wouldn't want to come anyways. Too right she was. And said the reason she didn't want him attending was because she and her fiance Jake didn't know him. Of course, Jake didn't know my fiance Thomas. Emily had just met Jake herself. As for Emily, she had over 3 years full of chances to get to know my fiance Thomas, but openly avoided him every chance she got. She then told my mom that if I could agree to attend her wedding without my fiance, then I would be invited. That is when my mom finally came to me with all of the messages between her and Emily. I declined the second I found out it was because she didn't want my fiance to attend her wedding with me. Not only because she was saying it was because she didn't know my fiance well enough, after squandering any chances to get to know him over 3 years, but because here she was expecting me to give her and her fiance, a man I actually don't know at all, my loving support, my blessing, my acceptance, my respect, and my acknowledgement, when she couldn't even do the same for me and the man I have been with for over a little 3 years at this point. My mom told her that I said I would not attend her wedding so long as my fiance could not attend with me, and that is when Emily said I was childish and needed to grow up. She also said that I needed to do what was right and put my petty behavior behind me in order to be there for her on her special day. I seen it as more than just her wedding, more than just one day, one evening out of the year. I seen it as years and years of friendship. I saw it as my best friend not willing to give me and my fiance the same support and acceptance as she was expecting out of me. So, am I the asshole for not attending her wedding just because she didn't want my fiance to attend? Was I overreacting? Should I have pushed my feelings to the side to be there for her on her special day?